Welcome, everyone. Today on Initiation into Spiritism course, we will talk about the Gospel at Home practice. This study is for those who already practice the Gospel at home and as well as for those that are just beginning. Spiritism has a few practices. The majority of them are based on Jesus' teachings, instructions, or examples. For instance, the laying on of hands or energy healing, or the Spiritist path as it's known within Spiritism. Likewise, the subject of our study, the Gospel at Home practice, we will mention other practices as we continue, but if you want more information on Spiritist practice, go to the United States Spiritist Federation website or get in contact with the Spiritist group near you. So let's start from the beginning. As I said, the majority of the Spiritist practices are based on Jesus' teachings. But how did this practice in particular came about? According to the Spirit Neo Lucio in chapter 1 of the book Jesus in the Home, psychographed by Chico Xavier, Jesus introduced the practice when in Simon Peter's house. I have asked Bradley Appling to read to us the chapter. Bradley is a member of the Germantown Spiritist Society and a gift storyteller. Uh, Bradley, would you please?
The firmament was full of stars on a night of silvery moonlight when the Lord, staying at Peter's house, reached for the sacred writings. As if wanting to set the conversation on a new course, once it became unproductive and unedifying, Jesus spoke kindly. Simon, what does a fisherman do when he is about to go to the market with the day's catch? The apostle thought for a few moments and answered somewhat hesitantly, well, master, of course he chooses the best fish. No one would buy leftovers. Jesus smiled and asked another question. And the potter, what does he do to carry out the task at hand? Obviously, Lord, replied the fisherman, intrigued. He molds the clay and gives it the form he wants. With a luminous, benevolent look, the heavenly friend continued, and what does a carpenter do to accomplish the work he proposes to do? Simon answered very simply, without wavering. He cleans the wood and uses the adze, the saw, the hammer, and the chisel. Otherwise, he could not shape the raw piece. Jesus was quiet for a few moments and then added, this may also be said of the home in this world. The domestic cradle is the primary school and temple of the soul. The home is the true shaper of one's character to community life. If the merchant selects his merchandise, if the woodworker cannot build a boat without shaping the wood to his purposes, how can one expect a safe and peaceful community if the home does not become a better place? World peace begins under the roofs that shelter us. If we do not learn to live in peace between four walls, how can we expect harmony between nations? If we cannot get used to loving the brother or sister right next to us, and who is involved with us in our daily struggle, how can we revere the eternal Father who seems so far away? Jesus glanced around the humble room, paused briefly, and continued, Peter, let us shine a new light here around all those who seek our fraternal assistance. The table in your home is the place for your bread. On it, you receive from the Lord the food you need each day. Why not set around it the seeds of happiness and peace in conversation and thought? The Father, who provides wheat for our warehouse through the soil, sends us light through the heaven. If light is the diffusion of the rays that constitute it, abundance starts in the simple seed. For this reason, the gospel did not begin amongst the crowds, but rather in the simple home of shepherds and animals. Simon Peter gazed at the Master with humble, understanding eyes, and because he could not find the right words to explain himself, he replied timidly, Master, may it be as you wish. Then Jesus, inviting the disciples' family members to join him in edifying conversation and uplifting meditation, unrolled the scrolls of wisdom and instituted the earth's first gospel at home.
Thank you, Bradley. Thank you very much. So, we all have heard of the saying. When Jesus said this to his disciples, he was in Peter's house. This happened after the transfiguration, when Jesus conversed with Moses and Elias at the top of the mountain, and before he went to Jerusalem, where he would be betrayed and condemned to death. Jesus knew what was going to happen. He wanted to leave his assurances to his disciples. His words brought consolation and hope to his followers, then as it does today. When we gather together praying and studying his teachings, he is among us. That is why we practice the gospel at home. When we practice the gospel at home, we are inviting Jesus into our homes. Through his teachings and the presence of his light workers, the good spirits. Well, not just Jesus, but a number of high order spirits also suggested that. So, why do they recommend such practice? Let's talk about the importance of moral education at home. The spirit mentor Emmanuel said, the best school is still the home, where individuals should receive the foundations of sentiment and character. The university can make the citizen, but only the home can enlighten the soul. In the home, moral learning experiences are granted, enabling us reincarnate spirits to develop fraternity, solidarity, and all the sentiments derived from love, thus preparing us for a life. What other benefits the practice of the gospel at home bring? It serves to bring peace and union into the family life, drawing the members of the family closer together through a common spiritual pursuit. Expands the knowledge and understanding of the gospel of Jesus, helping us grasp and apply his teachings in our daily lives. inspiring us to work in our inner transformation, that the key for our moral progress. It helps raise the vibrational energy of the home. It harmonizes the home mental atmosphere by raising the thoughts and feelings via edifying talks and uplifting meditation. Vibration energy states that emotions and thought patterns such as kindness, affection, and compassion create high vibratory frequencies, vibrations, while other feelings and mindsets such as resentments, sadness, fear vibrate at a lower frequency rates. So our own thoughts and emotions create our psychosphere, which is the energy byproduct of those thoughts and emotions. Likewise, the thoughts and emotions of all the members of the household create the home psychosphere. And our own psychosphere and the home psychosphere will attract or repel more of the same. The gospel at home practice also strengthens us spiritually for the life struggles, strengthen the magnetic defenses of the home, like a spiritual shield that will benefit all living there, attracts the presence and assistance of the good spirits by facilitating their approach and inspiration and help. So there are many benefits for a regular practice of the gospel at home. I would like to share with you an excerpt from the book The Messengers, psychographed by Francisco Cândido Xavier, our Chico Xavier, dictated by the spirit André Luiz. Allow me to read with you. Every time a prayer is made in the home, it improves that home spiritual environment. Each prayer coming from the heart creates an electromagnetic emission of relative power. For this reason, the gospel at home practice is not only a course of inner enlightenment, but also an advanced means for providing protection as a result of the spiritual luminosity that surrounds the house. Those who pray carry an armor. The home that cultivates prayer becomes a fortress. Shadow entities experience a huge reaction when in contact with the luminous vibrations of such a home, and that is why they keep their distance, looking for other places. So this excerpt just corroborates the benefits we already talked about. So how to? Once a week, on a day and time previously scheduled, we choose a date and time that can accommodate all the participants, as well as a room where all can be comfortable. Do not exceed 30 minutes because, according to most studies, the average adult has a maximum attention span of about 20 minutes. About the commitment and discipline, one thing that is always brought up when talking to the seriousness of our spiritual commitment is if we are disciplined and punctual when having an appointment at a doctor's office, a class in school, a scheduled time during the week to watch our favorite TV series. Why not be committed and disciplined when dealing with our spiritual growth? And how much time are we willing to devote to our spiritual growth? Let's talk about investing in our spiritual life. I did some calculations. based on 30 minutes meeting. So 30 minutes a week, 120 minutes of your time a month, 40 minutes or 24 hours of your time per year, 1 day per year, dedicated to our spiritual growth just by practicing the gospel at home. Only you can decide if it is worth it. What about being present? For the real benefits of the practice to be reaped, we need to be present in body and soul. It's very common for the body to be present, but the mind goes somewhere else. If this occurs, just bring yourself back to that moment. And there are a few guidelines, but one important one is that the gospel at home practice is not a mediumistic meeting. Spirit manifestations must not happen. You can find a more detailed step-by-step guide in these resources. I have used them to put together this presentation. The book Initiation into Spiritism by Terezinha Oliveira, the one book that gave the basis for this virtual course. The Gospel at Home, Sowing Light and Love in Family Environment, a publication by this International Spiritist Council. The Gospel at Home and in the Heart, a publication by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. The most important take-home message is the gospel at home ought to be simple, natural, fraternal, and it should respect the realities, singularities, and possibilities of each of its participants. Who can participate? Ideally, all family members should join the gospel at home. I presented here a simplified outline of the meeting. Prayers at the beginning and at the end of the meeting. Prayers are also a spiritist practice. Prayers should be simple and spontaneous. However, there is nothing against saying the Lord's Prayer or St. Francis' Prayer or another prayer of your preference. Most important is the intention and the sentiment of the prayer. The readings, you can select either randomly or in sequence from the passage of the Gospel according to Spiritism by Allan Kardec. Folks, this book, for those that do not know, it's not a gospel like those in the Bible, but a compilation and explanation of the moral maxims of Jesus through the light of Spiritism. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, we will find the lessons of the Sermon on the Mount commented by Kardec and complemented by the Spirit's teachings. Regarding the comments on the readings, they ought to be short and simple. It should involve all present and to emphasize the application of the moral teachings to everyday situations. The addition of stories and facts related to the topic can make the gathering even more agreeable. Vibrations. Vibrations are also a spiritist practice. Vibrations are emanations of good sentiments, thoughts, and words promoting love, harmony, and health. We can, to benefit the members of the home, the community, the country, and the planet. We can send vibrations for fraternity and peace to all humanity, for the implementation of the gospel in all homes. Other Spiritist literature can be used to enrich the teachings or the readings in addition to the Gospel at Home, the Gospel according to Spiritism. Those are suggested here. You may already be familiarized with some of them or all of them. Those are the ones that I use. Other one thing that we have to take into consideration is that not all that are listening to this are spiritists. They may have a different religious inclination. If the family has a different religious inclination, they may use another book of their choice. Important is the implementation of the religious study at home, the moral education of the individual. Spiritually magnetized water. Spiritually magnetized water is also a spiritist practice. The practice of asking the good spirits to magnetize the waters is common within the Gospel at Home. So, what it entails: put a jar or a bottle or a cup of water on top of the table or other surface, ask the good spirits ask the good spirits present, to magnetize the water and drink it during the week. This water, this special water, will be saturated with beneficial fluids and energy as needed by the participants of the meeting. I would like to go over two common pitfalls. Full disclosure here, been there, done that. First, when we start studying the gospel more seriously, we get very excited to be able to understand its teachings. We get enthusiastic about the lessons and we want to share. It's perfectly normal. Nonetheless, let's be careful not to force into others something they have an interest in or are not ready to listen. I'm not talking about abstaining from providing your child with guidance and moral education. Parents are duty bound to do so. But when dealing with adults, let's respect each other's time to awake to the beauty and wisdom of the gospel. And if the itch to preach to someone arises, take St. Francis' words. Action speaks louder than words. In addition, you know, life examples impact and inspire more lives than a speech on a soapbox. Let's also acknowledge that all the lessons present during the meeting were meant to us. They were not intended for another person, for that family member in attendance, for a neighbor, a relative, a work or classmate. It is essential to avoid criticism towards other people. The goal is to reflect on the teachings, applying the content to ourselves. The lesson may help us reflect on a past incident, a present situation, or a future one. Let's pay attention, meditate about it, and try to incorporate it in our lives. Now, a few of the most frequently asked questions. I live alone. Can I still do the gospel at home? Yes, you can. The guidelines are still the same. And in reality, we are never alone. You may think that, you know, reading or commenting the gospel out loud may be strange, but there is no problem to do so. As I said, we are never alone. The meeting may be shorter in duration because there is only one person, also no problem. But the purpose of the meeting and the benefits that one person receives are still the same. So there is no problem in doing the gospel by yourself. What if a family member refuses to join? Do the gospel at home as planned. Respect the other person's free will. Maybe during the vibrations, involve that person with thoughts of love. Even if someone does not wish to participate, they will benefit from the positive and benefic energies from the environment. Another question is, can my dog be present? Of course it can. The dog, the cat, the bird, the turtle, they are also part of the family. And usually they behave very well. They will benefit for the good vibrations. They will benefit even if they are not in the same room. Can I use other books for the readings? Definitely. We already offer a list of suggestions. Any edifying, uplifting, or enlightening literature that promote the moral progress of man can be used. Spiritism has a rich and extensive literature at our disposal. In case of work, vacation, holidays, can I interrupt the gospel at home? I will share with you my own experience. I let people at work know in advance that on that day of the week and time, my family gets together for our religious studies. And that is very important to me. In general, people are very respectful and accommodating. Regarding the vacation, if the vacation will be in one place for an extended period of time, I would continue with the practice on the date and time already scheduled. If it is a short vacation, I would in advance, and I don't want to, you know, uh, do the gospel at home, I would in advance communicate to the spirits in charge of the meetings of that temporary change. Same thing with holidays. I think the message here is do the gospel at home uh, when possible and communicate in thought to the spirit's friends of any change on the agreement. We need to remember that every spiritist practice is done in collaboration uh, and with the support of the spiritual realm. Can I invite a visitor to participate? Absolutely. The family might have guests from time to time. People may call on a spontaneous visit. If they don't know about the gospel at home practice, explain to them the purpose of the meeting and invite them to participate. If they wish, they can join in, but we should not interrupt the meeting because of it. The last but not the least, what if I forget the meeting or in case of delay? It happens, folks, to the best of us. Nowadays, with the help of smartphone alarms and calendar reminders, I suppose it happens much less. In case of delay, just go ahead and do the meeting. No, there is no problem. Next time we will be more observant. So that is all for today. Thank you very much. I would like to let you know that on Sunday, March 27 at 10 a.m., I will be available for a live Q&A in case you have questions. I thank you for your interest in the study, and I wish you a great day.